Good afternoon, good evening, good day. Sasha, thank you for joining us on this segment of Tech Drop. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much, Alan.
For those who don't know you, Sasha is our CTO here at CloneOps, so appreciate you sharing your time with us and jumping on for Tech Drop. Sasha, as we dive in, the segment today is focused on our email agent. So most people know CloneOps for voice, and voice was the foundation of where we started. Why did we decide or pivot or maybe add, right, email agents into the platform?
Yeah, so when we started with voice, we solved this massive pain point, which is brokers spending 4 to 6 hours a day on the phone with carriers. But pretty quickly, customers started asking, what about when carriers email instead of calling? And we realized the problem isn't the channel, it's the workload. And the carrier reaching out at 2 a.m. about the delay doesn't really care if you prefer phone or email, they just need an answer.
Got it. So it wasn't about adding another channel, it was more about solving a bigger problem, which is meeting our customers where they're at and the way that they're used to communicating, which a lot of communication today happens via email.
That's correct.
All right.
And then, I mean, this is really solving way bigger problem. And the problem really is the coverage. So if your AI agent handles only voice but ignores email, you only solved half the problem. And carriers use both interchangeably. So we built the email not as a separate feature, but as the same agent. It's just fluent in another medium. It's same brain, but just different interface.
Can we dive into that a little bit deeper? So going into what was actually broken in how brokerages maybe manage email today, and then how does our solution begin to solve for those things?
Right. So yeah, I mean, most brokerages treat email like a shared dumping ground. You get, let's say, I don't know, carrier.company.com email that goes to 5 people. Nobody owns it, and critical stuff gets buried. Or worse, everyone sees it, nobody responds because they assume someone else did. It's a chaos at 10 emails a day, but it's disaster at 500. So I mean, and then pretty much when what actually happens there is that there are like several issues that we have to deal with, like which is like what people do with emails. Like, are they just reading? Do they need to route it? Do they need to respond to it or document? And since all of it is actually a problem, someone has to read every email, figure out what is about, decide who should handle it, forward it, and by then the carrier is already calling because nobody replied. Then after it's handled, someone has to manually update the TMS every single time. And it's mind-numbing work that pulls brokers away from actual problem solving.
That makes sense. So let's dive into a little bit deeper. How does the email agent function? Is it like auto reply when an email comes in, or what makes the email agent the agent?
Yeah, that's a really great question because it is not auto reply because those are really dumb. Like, thanks for email, we'll get back to you, etc., etc. And nobody really answers or gets back to you. And that's not really solving anything. So the agent really understands what are you really asking and takes action. So if a carrier emails asking for a rate on a lane, the agent pulls the rates, checks capacity, evaluates margin rules, and replies with quote. Not a placeholder, it completes the transaction.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Can you take it for a test drive? Can you show us what the agent looks like?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
I'm excited.
So we have built this UI where you can very easily describe the agent. We have this processing workflow that usually email agents have to accomplish when the email arrives. And it's very easy to anybody to describe what the SOP and what action you want agent to do. So the agent usually, when email arrives, has to classify that email, decide what it is, needs to extract some data, look up in external services to find out what is really the question about, and then create a summary. And then eventually, depending on your workflow, it can either prepare a response, can prepare the draft, send an email, send notification, and things like that. So how do you go about setting this up? You go to the first step in classify, where you can actually describe your categories. How do you want to classify this email? So here actually we created like different categories such as load status update, delivery confirmation, general shipment inquiry, etc., etc. And then agent is going to figure out from the content and history what is the email all about. Then the next section is data extraction. So if you get an email in extraction like, well, what's the status on load 123? In order to have meaning behind that, the agent will have to go and do the lookup to figure out what is the load detail. So you actually add a tool with your favorite or TMS service that you use. Today, actually, in this agent, we are using the tool from Transport Pro that actually can get you the load details based on your basic information you provided. And then the agent is going to extract this information and enrich it with the data from this tool. And at the end, you can then extract things like load number. Does it need human interaction later though? Like what is the load status, date and time? What is the status? What is the address? And you can then eventually also add additional tools here to say, well, now I want to escalate this, and then you can escalate it if it requires escalation by adding the tool for the escalation. And that escalation could be sending a message, like I don't know, Slack message, Teams message, or sending another email to another group, or prepare the draft email for somebody to verify and response. And then a good example of the draft email could be if the agent start negotiating the price point, because agent, by the way, knows also the history. So for example, if you already had an email on Monday about the original price, which was like $2,300, and then he answers like, well, what about $2,200? Then agent will know that this is some negotiation going on, and it will look into history and will know, okay, well, let's continue this conversation. And then it can go and say, well, let me actually, it's beyond my kind of capacity here, and let me escalate this to the human, and then human can go and prepare the draft, and the human can go verify that and adjust the email. And then at the end, you actually create a summary, and actually then summary says, well, you can describe this, provide description how you want this to be described. So then if you're escalating through other means, the agent or human agent will actually know exactly what was this all about. So once this executes and run, you can then go into the email logs and you can see this agent in action. So it actually did provide all these categorizations here, where it's general inquiry, payment inquiry, and all of that stuff. And did it actually act on that as a final result? So if I, let's say, if this was also, it actually provides you information that it's a spam, and also it can describe the sentiment as well. So this one was neutral sentiment, meaning there was just normal conversation. And here's a summary about the extraction. What was it from? Does it need human, etc.? Or if it was a let's see if there's any other sentiment. There was, I actually don't have that one here. Let me see. There's a positive sentiment here.
If we could jump back, I know you mentioned one of our good partners, Transport Pro. So how does the agent write some structured updates back to the TMS?
That's a really great question. So let me get back to that. It is very easy. So here, the tool we used to get information was get load details, but you can also add the tool for the Transport Pro to post dispatch note So when you select this post dispatch node, you specify your credentials for this agent, you add that tool, and with these instructions, agent will now know to update the TMS. You're just adding one tool to the agent and you're done.
Oh, wow. And if the carrier were to email first and then they call, does all of that context also carry over?
Absolutely. Not only that, we have ability to create the even whole flow based on this discussion. So you will actually create in this email trigger, you will add this agent that you want to process your emails. And after you add this agent, you can, as an output of this agent, you can actually decide what else to do. You can actually maybe send Microsoft email or actually whatever email was your that you're using. Or you can make other conditions. You can do data transformation. You can chain more email agents. Like you can say, well, let me actually do some, let's say, branch here and say, in case of auto reply, I want to send or prepare with the human in the middle draft email here. So that's your success route. On failure, if it's negative feedback, let's say you want to escalate that, and you can prepare escalation steps, and you can then actually do another update to your services through the, let's say, another notification here or through API call of any kind, right? So you actually have full control to manage the output of this email and extraction of the data and process it pretty much any way you want to,
Wow. So what I'm hearing you
there are
say is
cases.
it's
Go
not
ahead.
just like the inbox automation, but it's the entire workflow execution.
Exactly. Not only that, lots of companies have one shared email mailbox, let's say support email box that actually handles 20, 30 different use cases. Then you want to have your email agents or agents that process this one very specialized. And then you can actually add here also additional post-processing of this one by adding more email agents. Let's say I want to have another triage email agent that is managing another types of email, and it's very specialized in that. Or I add another email agent that is processing it and doing actions that are specific to, let's say, to that kind of thing. Let's say, let me pick this one just for sake of example. So in essence, what you can do, you can chain those processors and have them make decision what they need to do. So for example, if I'm support agent, and then the support email will actually be sent to the support triage email agent, who will then decide whether or not to open the ticket or send the email with the answer. And if it's not the support, if it's like price negotiation, you have price negotiation agent that handles price negotiations only and knows what to do in this case. This way, your agent is not superhuman that does everything, but you have specialized agents that are very well controlled and way more accurate.
Thank you for sharing this. It's really exciting to see it all come to life. As we start to wrap up, as a technology leader, Sascha, a question I have for you is, what metric do you believe improves first? Is it going to be response time, maybe communication consistency, or even coverage on communication?
I would say,
There's no wrong answer.
yeah. Well, I mean, pretty much, what we usually see the KPI or actually the enhancements is really like the time that people spend. So it's like all the processing effort that actually people need to get through, like just getting off of the people's plate and not dropping and losing any emails. Like the processing of these emails usually is the first thing that is biggest gain. And usually, what we suggest is to start simple and just deal with pre-processing first to see like how much classification and grouping these emails and targeting proper departments is going to solve you, and then it will definitely and speed up your time to delivery of the answers, because that's what email is really going to help the most is kind of quicker responses that really make sense, that are in the context of that conversation, not just kind of some templated responses. So
yeah, so operationally, I'm hearing it could be a mix of coverage, so that when hundreds of emails are flooding an inbox, they all get covered. Consistent response time, so all of those emails are being addressed in an orderly fashion from the operations teams.
Exactly.
All right. Well, Sascha, thank you for joining us on this segment of Tech Drop. Any last piece of information or anything you want to add before we sign off for the day?
Yeah, I mean, the maybe suggestion. So if you're thinking like what would be the first workflow you would recommend, I would say rate requests. Usually those are very high volume with low risk and immediate value. Carriers email asking for rates. The agent replies instantly with competitive quotes, and your team does not touch it unless it needs negotiation. And you'll see your ROI in week one. That's all I have to
Well, now I have an
suggest.
additional question.
Okay.
How quickly can someone implement this type of agent and use case?
Well, technically, we've seen people implement this in matter of minutes.
Oh, wow.
Especially if you have already connectors. If you're just dealing with classification, because all it needs, like it needs access to that email inbox and preparation of the SOP kind of definition, what you want to do, because everything is just like very simple, like click and select and choose and enter some text. It's a no-code solution, does not require any coding, unless you start talking about very detailed and deep integration with your systems. But immediate kind of response can be done in, like, let's say, in one day. I would say, like, with all testing and enhancements, it doesn't take longer than that.
Wow, I'm impressed. Well, thank you, Sascha. I appreciate your time. Thank you all for watching and joining us on this segment of Tech Drop. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.